you have card check on the agenda, or will you?
You know, it's an important issue, but I think the most important priority we have before us is the economy right now. Because if we don't keep people working and we don't work hard, focus on being competitive globally and creating more jobs, making sure that we can get more people covered with health care, that we can access greater energy needs that we're going to have in the 21st century and do so in a respectable way to the environment, as well as in terms of cost, and lessening our dependence on foreign oil. I mean, that's a whole different conversation when you start talking about what's going on in the Middle East. So, we've got all of these major issues to deal with, which have a tremendous amount more to play, I think, in terms of both keeping people in jobs and working and creating jobs than card check does right now. So, I mean, it's an issue that will come before us eventually, I'm sure, but it's certainly not a complete issue right now, and I think the biggest priority I have right now is to focus my sights on helping to solve the problems of the economy for this country.
If the vote were held today, how would you vote?
I don't know. We don't. It's kind of, it's a bill that hasn't been through committee. It hasn't been marked up. It hasn't been amended. It's not. It's something that I'm not going to see in its current form. And, to make a judgment on that and to spend time on a piece of legislation, quite frankly, that's not going to be productive in the things that are urgent to us right now, in my opinion, is, it's not a priority.
War now on American service personnel on two fronts. Nearby, but I mean, what would you have Mr. Obama do right now, or at noon on January 20th?
In regard to?
Iraq and Afghanistan.
Well, I think, it's been pretty much set in motion that there'll be a downsizing U.S. troops out of major cities by, I think, the middle of the summer of '09 coming up. And then 2011, hopefully our troops will be out of Iraq. That's kind of the gauge that we have there. I think you're going to see probably an effort to step up, obviously, in Afghanistan, where we need some help, and that's been obvious for quite some time. I don't know what President-elect Obama's intentions are, but I think you're going to continue to see the downsizing in Iraq. The transfer of power, there's already, we're seeing that, the agreement that's in place now in terms of,
pretty messy affair so far.
Well, it is messy, but I mean, it's always been messy, and it's going to be messy just in the sense that you've got three different factions over there. They still haven't figured out all of what they're going to do in terms of the division of resources, and all the different processes that they have to go through. There's a lot more there that's got to happen, and I don't think it's going to be, a clean sweep or a clean cut in terms of how those transitions happen.
In the House you were, and in the Senate as well, in spirit, I mean, you were a blue dog.
Yes, one of the founders.
Absolutely.
And they claimed, my claim to fame was I was the only blue dog to be able to deliver a litter.
I won't go. We're almost out of time. Will you soon have a new colleague from Illinois, and will his name be Burris?
That's going to be curious, as you well know.
Well, the majority leader now seems to say, after initially saying,
yeah,
no way will we seat anyone that the governor has nominated or appointed, but he seems not as, maybe there's a little wiggle room there?
Well, I think what he's realizing is that Mr. Burris is very well thought of in the state of Illinois. I mean, he's run statewide and was the first statewide elected African-American official in Illinois. And it's very plausible that he could be the nominee, whether it's Blagojevich that does it or whether it's the lieutenant governor who assumes that position if, in fact, Blagojevich is indicted. So I think he's wanting to make sure that it's not that he has anything against Mr. Burris, and I don't think anybody does. It's just the unfortunate circumstances that they find themselves in with a governor who most likely is going to be indicted, making that selection after we actually pleaded with him not to.
Under the circumstances, if it comes to a vote in the caucus, how would you vote?
On Burris?
Yes, or anybody else that the governor would send.
Yeah.
This governor would send.
Well, I'd like to, I don't know, I don't think we're going to vote on it this week. We may very well vote on it this week in the caucus. But I'd really like to have a better understanding of where the U.S. Attorney's Office is going and what's going to happen there. I don't know, and I don't know that they've really, indicated to us what is going to happen there. I think it's a little unfair to the people of Illinois that if the governor is indicted, that he would be allowed to make that appointment. Now, he hasn't as of yet. At least I haven't heard that he has been.
At this hour, I
Yeah.
don't think he has been.
It's hard for me to believe that if all of these people have been together in the political scheme of Illinois for quite some time, that they can't come together and just say, let's wait for the next 2 weeks and figure out what's going to happen in the course of the governor's circumstances and then move forward.